Daf Nun Beis Amud Aleph, 3 lines from the top. Rav Nosson bar Asiyah Zalmi Bei Rav Lepumbedisa Beyom Tov Sheni Shel Atzeres. He traveled from the yeshiva to Pumbedisa on the second day of Shavuos, on Yom Tov Sheni of Atzeres. So l'chayre, the way the Miri learns, he traveled chus l'tchum. And what's up shot? How could he do that? Cheshbon was, according to Dvar Shmuel, the Cheshbon was that in his place where he came from, they kept only 1 day. He went to a place where they kept 2 days. So, but his minig was only 1 day. But he should have been machmer and be machmer with to adopt the chumras of the city that he was going to, Pumbedisa. So he was over. Shamte Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef put him in cherem for doing that, for violating that. Omra le Abaye says, Rav Yosef, why did you give him malchus? Why did you put him in cherem? Why don't you give him malchus? Omra le, he says, Adifa Avdele. I gave him the more chomedik punishment. The cherem is more chomer than malchus. The mo'arava mimnu anegida the bar beirav, because in Eretz Yisrael they take a vote if they have to put somebody a Talmud Chacham who is over an Avera. They took a vote on it and they gave him malchus v'loy mimne ashamta, but not vote to put in cherem. So you see that cherem is more chomer. That's a more chomedik punishment. So I gave him the punishment that was more chomer. Why did he give him the more chomedik punishment? Because of the chumrah of Yontif. So he gave him the punishment that was more chomer. There's a machlokes in the Rishonim how we treat people who are not a Talmud Chacham. What type of punishment would they be given? But the Ran learns that he says that if someone is not a Talmud Chacham, if it's an Avera where it's a mitzvah d'Rabbanan and the person is over that, so therefore by being over that, he nullifies it completely. Over there, you put him in cherem. But if it's a gzeira d'Rabbanan, so it's not violating the mitzvah completely, it's being over on the gzeira over there, so it's a less chomedik punishment, so they give him malchus. So that's one version of the Maisa. Ikadam, another version is Nagdir of Yosef. What in fact gave him was malchus. He didn't put him in cherem. Omer Labai in the Shamtimar. Why don't you put him in cherem? The Rav Shmuel Damrat Avayim Menadon L'Shnei Yom Tov Shel Golias that we see from 2 Yom Tov Golos, the Chumrah of Yom Tov. You do put over there. We do put in cherem. Omer Lai, he said, Hani Mili Inish Dalma. That's by an ordinary person. But here we're dealing with the Talmud Chacham. I did something better for him. So that's by a regular. But here I was makel for the Talmud Chacham. I was makel. Because in Eretz Yisrael they took a vote to give malchus for a Talmud Chacham, but not for cherem. So you see that for a Talmud Chacham we're more lenient on it. So here, therefore, he said that I didn't put him in cherem. Because I did something, I was mekel with him. He's a Talmud Chacham, and I gave him malchus and I did not put him in cherem. Continue on with the Gemara. The Mishnah said, in a similar vein, if a person takes parashiyas, he takes a parashiyas in a place where it's kolu. From the place of his origin, there are no longer this produce in the fields, so he's chayiv in beer. And he takes it to a place where it's loikol. There still has this produce in the field. There's no chiv of beer. Or he takes it from a place shaloikol. There's no chiv beer to a place shakolu chayiv levair. In both cases, since he has to adopt the minig from the place of his origin and the minig to the place that he's going to, he has to be mevair. Rav Yehuda says, he can say, you also bring from the produce. You as well bring it. So what does this mean? What is Rav Yehuda's statement? So Zok the Gemara, so we're assuming what Rav Yehuda means over here is that he doesn't have to adopt the chumras of his place of origin. So Frank the Gemara, Velesle Rav Yehuda Hadisnan, doesn't he hold what we learned in the Mishnah, the Reish of the Mishnah, Noisan Lav Chumrei Amalkim Sheyotzim Misham, V'Chumrei Amalkim Shehalach L'Sham? Doesn't he hold that he has to adopt the chumras of both places? It would seem to be that Rabbi Yehuda is saying that he can tell the residents of the new town that he's coming to, where over there it's Kol, they have a chiyuv beer. That it seems to be that Rabbi Yehuda is saying, well, he doesn't have to be mevayer his produce, because he can tell the people, the locals in the new town that he's coming to, that, well, you can bring produce from where I brought it. In the place that I brought this produce from my place of origin, it's loikol. They're still available in the fields. There's no chiyuv biur. So now over here, well, why do I have to be mevayer this produce that I'm bringing here? You can go to my town, the place of my origin, and you'll see that there are Paris over there. And you can bring it also for yourself. You can go there, you can go to the town of my origin and bring for yourselves Paris as well. So that would be, it would seem to imply that Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold that we put on him the churmas of the place that he's going to. Does he argue with the Tanna Kama on that? It doesn't seem like he would argue on that then. So could it be that that's what he's saying? So it must be that there's a different pshat in Rabbi Yehuda. It can't be that he's saying that if he comes to a place where the local minig and the chiyuv is to be mevayer, that he doesn't have to adopt their chumras, their halachas. So Gemara says, "Enechanami Amar Rav Shisha Brei Ravidi Milsa Achrita Kamar Vira." That's not the case of the discussion of the Chalekes, and that's not what he's referring to. Enechanami. In that case, Rav Yehuda would certainly agree that if he comes to a place where they have a chiyuv biur, he also has to be noig a chiyuv biur. But we're talking about something else, a different case. This is the case. Or if he goes to a place, it's loikol. There's no chiyuv of biur. They still have available products in the field. It hasn't been depleted. So l'malkim shaloikolu, he's going mimalkim shaloikol. He's a place of his origin. There's no chiyuv biur. L'malkim shaloikol, to a place where it's similarly loikol. So there's no chiyuv biur in either place. Then Vishama Shakala b'mekaimai, but then he heard that from his place of origin, that it has been depleted, and he has a chiyuv of biur, chayiv levayer. Tanna Kama says he has to be mevayer, since even though when he left there was no chiyuv of biur, but he has the produce from his place of origin, and now there's a chiyuv biur, he has to be mevayer. Rav Yehuda Omer, he says no, he doesn't. Because he can say to the people of his hometown, the place from his origin, he can say, he said, he can say to them, go and bring for yourselves produce from the new town. You can go to this place where I'm going to now, and you'll see that it's loikolu, so there's no chiyuv of biur. So he can tell them, you as well, you can do the same thing. You can come here, and it's loikolu, and you don't have a chiyuv biur. And you can come here, v'ha loikolu, and you'll see that they haven't been depleted. So in this case is what Rav Yehuda is saying, that there's no chayvas biur. He doesn't have to be noig biur, because from the time when he left his city, there was no chayvas biur. And now, even though in his place of origin, now it's been depleted, but he's in the new city where it has not been depleted. And he can tell the people from his hometown, well, you come here also and bring your parents, your parents here, and you'll see that there's loikol, there's no chayvas biur. Well, it comes out according to this that Rabbi Yehuda is being makel. We have a Kabbalah that Rabbi Yehuda is being machmir, so this can't be the case. Gemara says El Epok. You have to reverse the opinions. The Tanna Kama is saying there's no chiyuv biur, and Rabbi Yehuda Omer Say vavelacha af ata mehechadaitinu. And Rabbi Yehuda says, no, there is a chayvus biur, because he says, go and bring for yourself produce from the place of my origin. So he says that go bring for yourself some of this produce from the place where I came from, and you'll see that it's become depleted. So therefore, Rav Yehuda is saying is that there is a chayvus biur. Because who's the one now who would be speaking? Because the hometown residents, the people who are from the place of his origin, would be saying to him, so to speak, would be saying to him that, well, go bring some more of the produce that you brought from their hometown, from the place of origin, and you'll see you won't find it. V'akalalu. So therefore, you have to be mevar these pears that you brought from our hometown. You have to be mevar these pears from the town of your origin, because if you would now try to find it, try to bring some more of them and bring it, you see that's not here. So you have to be mevar. Abaya says, no, you don't have to be mepechet. And it's not choser, and you don't have to say this case is the way you mentioned it, that it's not mashme in the words of the Mishnah, like Taisa says, that it comes that way. If you rate this scenario, you have to say that it's choser from the Mishnah, that he took it from a place shloi kolo to a place of kolo, and now afterwards he heard that it's kolo. He says no, loyim kediktani v'hachi kama. This is what it means. You're taking it from a place shaloi to a makam shekolo. Now you brought it to a place shekolo. Your place of origin, there's no chayvus biur. You brought it to a place, a new town, where it's called, there is a chayvus biur. But now you returned it to your original place, and it's like kolu, there's no chayvus biur. So the Tanna Kama says, Ein a chayv levar. There's no chiyuv of biur over here. There's no chiyuv of biur, because, yes, you took it to a new town, but the place of origin, the peres from the place of origin, there's no chayvus biur. You took it to a place where there's a chayvus biur, but they're not peres from that city. Now you brought it back to the place of origin. So it's like nothing happened. So there's no chayvus biur. Rabbi Yehuda Omer say va'avelecha afata mehechadaitinu v'akolu. Rabbi Yehuda says no, that there is a chayvus biur, because the residents of his place of origin, of his hometown, can say to him, "You're bringing these pears. Now go from that place that you're coming from, and try to bring more pears from there, and try to bring it here, and you'll see that there's nothing there. So you can't bring any more pears from where you're coming from. So therefore, there's a chayvus biur. So, meaning you took the pears to this other place, they become part of that new town. They become part of this other town where there's a chayvus biur. Like Rabbeinu Hananel says, they lose their status of peros from their place of origin. You took them to a new place to become part of the new place. And therefore, there's a chayvus biur over there, so you have a chayvus biur. Maskif lo Ravashi, lo Rav Yehuda, ato agam b'dachama kaltinu. How can you say this for? Do you say that just because it's on the back of the donkey, therefore it becomes part of the new town? It loses its status, and it gains the status of the new place on the back of the donkey? It's not part of it. It hasn't grown in that place. It's not part of that place. So why should we say that it loses its original status and it has a status of the new town where there's a chayvus biur, and therefore it has a chayvus biur? Why should we say that? Ela Maravashi, he says, beplukte d'haritanai. The machlekes, Tanakam Rabbi Yehuda, is totally on this machlekes that we have in this following case. This nan we learned in a Mishnah, Hakayvesh Shleisha Kevashim Bechavesachas. A person, he preserves 3 types of vegetables in one barrel. So he's pickling, he's preserving 3 different types of vegetables in one barrel. And as Taisus explains, there have 3 different times of biur. So the time of biur is different for each one. For each one of them is a different time when it's kolo, and it's kolo in the sada. So Rabbi Eliezer Omer Eichlam al Rishon. Rabbi Eliezer says you can only eat all of them, any one of them, only to the time when the first one, when the chayvus biur is for the first one. When the chayvus biur comes for the very first vegetable, even though the other vegetables are available in the soda, they all become asur. We'll explain why in a moment. Rabbi Yeshua Omer Afalachim. Rabbi Yeshua says you can eat all of them until the last date, meaning even the first one, there's no vegetables left in the fields. The second one, there's nothing left in the fields. They can eat all of them until the time of the last one, until the time when there is no longer any of the last vegetable in the field. Then you can't eat any of them. But so long as one of the 3 is still available in the fields, you can eat all of them. Again, we'll see why shortly. Rabbi Gamliel Aimer Kol Shekola Mina Basada Yivara Mina Chavis. And Rabbi Gamliel says no, it's you each judge each one individually. So we don't judge the one based on the availability of the other ones. Each of the 3 we judge it on its own. When the first one is kolu, then that one has a chayvus biur, but the rest are mutter. And so to number 2, then the second one, the third one. That's what Rabbi Gamliel says, v'halacha kidvarov. And that's the halacha, and that's how we paskin. So therefore, the Tanakama of the Mishnah holds like Rabbi Yeshua. So he holds like Rabbi Yeshua, who says afalach. And Rabbi Yehuda, he holds like Rabbi Gamliel, that you judge each one on its own. So what is the explanation, what is underlying this 3-way machlekes? So Rabbi Eliezer says, Oichlim al Rishon. Rabbi Eliezer says you can only eat it so long as everything is available. If even the first one is kolu, and there's a chayvus biur, you can't eat any of them. Why is that? As Rashi explains, because tam kikir. They're all being preserved together, they're being pickled together. That means that each one of the vegetables has the taste of the other one. So if even one of them is kolu, is no longer available in the fields, then the other ones which have the tam, the taste of that one, also have a chayvus biur. That's what Rabbi Eliezer holds. Rabbi Yeshua says, afalach. He says you can wait to the last one. He says because we say that if there is even a tam of something in the vegetable, even the first one, that's kolu, the vegetable itself is no longer available in the field, but it has the tam of a vegetable that is in the field. So the way Taisus explains it is that as long as there is part of the vegetable is still available in the field, as long as part of it is still available in the field, it's not considered to be kolu. So even though if vegetable A, the first one, the vegetable itself is no longer available in the field, but it has the tam, the taste, the flavor of 2 and 3. And therefore, part of this vegetable, it has the taste, the tam of the other ones, is available because those vegetables are available in the field. Therefore, it's not considered to be kolu. So there's no chayvus biur. That's what Rabbi Yeshua holds. Rabbi Gamliel, Gamliel says, is that no, he says you judge each one on its own because tam is not a factor in the din of biur over here. When we talk about biur, it's if the vegetable itself is available. Now over here, just because it absorbs tam, that's not significant in this regard, and therefore it's not a factor. If the vegetable is in the field, then there's no chayvus biur. If it's not, then there is a chayvus biur, so you judge each one on its own. If that particular vegetable is in the field, then there's no chayvus biur. If it's not, then there's a chayvus beer, and it doesn't matter about the other ones. We don't take the other vegetables into account. So therefore we're saying that the Tanna Kama holds like Rav Yishu. As Rashi says, how do we see from the Tanna Kama that he holds like Rav Yeshua? Because he says as follows: the loshon of the Tanna Kama is that it says mimokam shaloi kol lamokam shekol. If he takes the produce mimokam shaloi kol to mokam shekol, means kol, it's completely gone. It's kol kula. That all of them, none of it is left. Meaning, so you have this type of a case. If he takes it to the new place and none of them are there, then you have a chayvus biur. But as long as even some of it is there, even one of the vegetables are still available, there's no chayvus biur. That's like Rav Yeshua. And Rabbi Yehuda holds no. And Rabbi Yehuda holds like Rabbi Gamliel, that he says, "Say va'avelecha af ata." He says that to them, you want to say you can eat this vegetable on account of the achron, like your Yeshua. No, say va'avelecha af ata, from this vegetable that you want to eat now. Can you find it in the field here? You can't find it in the field here. It's not available over here. So yes, the other ones are, but this one isn't. So therefore, you have a chayvus biur. And that's how he explains it. And Rabbi Yehuda holds like a Rabban Gamliel.